Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now this weekend the Overwatch League is starting, which is very exciting. Because of this, there'll be a lot of games played and I'm going to be predicting them for you in this video. My picks are not all the favourite picks. These are just what I'm thinking the outcome will be, what the outcome could be, what the outcome should be. So let's get into it. The first game we have is from North America on Friday. And it's the battle for Texas, Houston Outlaws versus the Dallas Fuel. Now, this game seemed very one-sided until the recent XC drop. I think everyone would have had Dallas Fuel winning this very handily, but now it's a bit closer. I've still gone with the Dallas Fuel winning this 3-2, but this is a lot closer than I would have predicted with XC. We still don't know who, or if they even have anyone, as a replacement for him, which makes this game a very tricky one to pinpoint. I still think Dallas Fuel will be able to take it on a sheer talent, considering how powerful their tank line is, and how good their DPS line is if they can get on comfort picks. However, Houston definitely have a chance to take this one away, and if Houston has a chance to beat Dallas Fuel at any point through the season, I think right now week 1 is the time to do it. After this game, we've got a very big one. Two teams that are considered to be juggernauts going into the next season. The Los Angeles Gladiators versus the San Francisco Shock. Now, Shock is definitely the favourite to win here, but I've gone with Gladiators winning, and I've given it a scoreline of 3-1. I don't think this game will be close, but I'm not confident on which way it will go. I don't see this being a 3-2. Now, someone quote this when the score is 3-2, but I don't think this will be a close game. I have put Los Angeles winning this, as I think it will fit the trend of San Francisco starting off shaky and picking up speed as the season goes on. But this definitely could change. While I put LA winning by a big margin, it definitely could go the other way. I could see Shock wiping the floor with Gladiators, but we'll just have to wait and see. Either way, this is a very exciting game for all fans of the Overwatch League, as both these teams are considered top tier teams for the next season. Unfortunately, APAC doesn't have any games for the Friday, so we will move on to Saturday. The first North America game for this day is Toronto Defiant versus Vancouver Titans, the battle for Canada. I've got Toronto winning this 3-0. I don't think there's a world in which Vancouver runs away with this, but they definitely could make it more competitive. Anyone that watches my channel knows that I'm quite high on Toronto, so this scoreline won't be very surprising. I can see this going down to 3-2 or 3-1 to Toronto Defiant, but I don't see Vancouver winning in any world. Then we've got the Atlanta Reign versus the Florida Mayhem. Many are hyping up this game as people have many different takes on it. And while I think it will be a close game, I don't think there's much backing saying Atlanta will win this. So I'm going with Florida winning 3-2. I don't see where the confidence for Atlanta comes from in this. Atlanta's problems last year were the tank line, and the coaching, and the support line to an extent. What have they upgraded? The DPS line, the one place that they were comfortable last year. I don't understand where the Atlanta hype has come from, but I have Florida taking this 3-2 either way. I could see Atlanta winning in a world where the DPS just pop off and carry the game, but if that doesn't happen, it definitely could swing the other way and Florida Mayhem win easily. Finally, we've got a game that would have been considered good up until the recent move of XC, the Dallas Fuel versus Los Angeles Gladiators, and I've gone with this being 3-1 to the Los Angeles Gladiators. I think Dallas Fuel will have a tough game against Houston, which really doesn't set a good trend for them, going up one of the teams that's considered to be one of the best in the league going into the next season. Similar to Atlanta, Dallas could just dominate this game and have the tanks take over instead of the DPS. But I think Los Angeles will execute game plans very well. I think they'll be a very sharp and crisp team in their gameplay, and I think they'll be able to dismantle what I'm predicting to be Dallas Fuel's sloppy play after the recent loss of XC. Moving on to APAC for Saturday, the first game we have up is the Guangzhou Charge versus the Shanghai Dragons. I don't think this game will be too exciting, as I'm predicting a 3-0 to the Shanghai Dragons. There's no reason for me to think Guangzhou will win this game, but they could make it a lot more competitive than this. But they could make it more competitive than the scoreline suggests. Shanghai is without a doubt the favourite coming into this game, and they would be going into all of their APAC games, and I think Guangzhou Charge is quite an easy one for them to start off against. Then there's the Los Angeles Valiant versus the Chengdu Hunters, and I'm going with a 3-0 to the Chengdu Hunters. The Valiant are really not expected and won't be a good team for Season 4. And they're getting up against one of the more exciting prospects for the APAC region, the Chengdu Hunters. Chengdu have made great improvements for this season, and going up against undoubtedly the worst team in APAC shouldn't be an issue for them. Finally for Saturday, we've got a really exciting game. This one should be a close one, the Philadelphia Fusion versus Seoul Dynasty. Now the Seoul Dynasty, well, this could definitely go either way. They could dominate or they could be rolled, because Seoul Dynasty, very inconsistent team. We should be able to get a good look at 2U playing, and how he fits in with the rest of the team, as well as Animo. I think Seoul Dynasty has the ability to take over this game easily if the coaching makes the right choices. Then on the other side you've got Philadelphia Fusion. A big question mark for the APAC region next season, as recently they've made some big changes due to visa issues. If Philadelphia Fusion can beat Seoul Dynasty here, it will look great for them, as with a weaker roster, they're able to perform to high levels. And that just gives you faith in when they have their full strength roster, they'll be able to compete with the best like Shanghai Dragons. Okay, moving on to Sunday. First game up is Houston Outlaws versus San Francisco Shock. I've gone with Shock winning this 3-0. There's not much to say here really. Shock should just be a better team going into this game. Houston is a big variable for this whole weekend, as Houston is one of the biggest teams that scrimbucks have been invested in. They're saying a lot, they're talking the talk about their scrims, and the weekend's just for us to see if they can walk the walk. Then there's the Florida Mayhem versus Vancouver Titans. I've gone with another steamroll for the Florida Mayhem, being 3-0 to them. Once again, there's no reason for me to have faith in the Vancouver Titans to be able to upset a middle-of-the-pack team this early on in the season at least. And then finally, you've got Toronto Defiant versus Atlanta Reign. I think the general consensus for this game is actually Atlanta wins, which baffles me, as I think Toronto is definitely a stronger team. I've gone with a 3-2 for Toronto, but this could go similar to the Florida one, in which the Atlanta Reign DPS do just take over. Then for the East region, we kick things off with Guangzhou Charge versus Seoul Dynasty. I've gone with a 3-1 to the Seoul Dynasty here, but I do think the Philadelphia Fusion game and the Shanghai Dragons game from the previous day will influence what people think of this game going into it a lot. If Guangzhou manages to put up a good performance against Shanghai and Seoul does very poorly against Philadelphia Fusion, then this scoreline could definitely be quite the opposite. Seoul Dynasty could just crumble and Guangzhou Charge could reach levels that no one's expecting. Next up, you've got Chengdu Hunters versus Shanghai Dragons. I've gone with a 3-2 to the Shanghai Dragons. While I don't see Chengdu winning this game, I do think they'll make it competitive. I think Chengdu is being extremely underrated going into the next season, and I think this game is a great chance for them to prove early on that they are a competitive team. Finally, the last game of the APAC region for the weekend is Philadelphia Fusion versus Los Angeles Valiant. Quite a calming and simple way to end the weekend. I've gone with a 3-0 to the Philadelphia Fusion. They should be able to handily beat the LA Valiant, even though recently they have been losing to them in scrims, rumours say. Philadelphia Fusion should be at a lot higher power than they were back then, as they actually have the roster that they're going to be playing with, rather than having two players on the 7 billion ping. Thanks so much for watching the whole video, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure if you did, you like, comment, subscribe and share. If you're from Reddit, please subscribe and check out my other videos. And let's see how this week goes. I'm excited for the weekend. You guys should be too. Goodbye.